I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Harish Mehra, Global Head Plant System Solutions, Engineering and Industrial Services Divisions of TCS Limited since October 2009. He has been responsible for providing strategic direction and growth of TCS business in the manufacturing IT solution space. Harish has more than 22 years of business and consulting experience in plant automation, supply chain management, and manufacturing IT solutions across various industries and domains. We welcome you on the stage, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be part of ARC 13th forum, which is focusing on digitalization. Today, I'm going to primarily cover the transformation which is required to bring through an integrated digital enterprise. Now, integrated digital enterprise consists of two words. One is integration. And here, as a point of view from TCS, we talk about integration of processes. And when it comes to digitalization, what we mean is ability to use technology to bring digital definitions of the designs or authoring systems which you are going to use for your manufacturing plants. See, since morning we are talking almost everything on smart manufacturing, Industry 4.0, factory of the future, and these are very, very broad definitions. I agree to my previous speaker that we need to take small steps to reach out to this journey, because this journey is getting into something which is like compulsory and going to redefine the whole space in the next 4 to 5 years. So if you don't have the ability to change and bring this change, either you are out of that business or you won't be able to compete effectively with the people who can bring this change up front. Now the today focus is primarily on plants. So we are not talking Internet of Things in the context of Internet of Things. It's a huge subject. Maybe the whole day can be spent on this topic. But the context is only plants. And plants, again, we are dividing into primarily as part of the operations. Very much integral part of the supply chain operations. Why everybody? We have representatives from Siemens, GE, we have customers, we have experiences which we are seeing here. Why there is a need for the operations to change or to transform, and how then the technology helps you in bringing this change effectively is what we are going to discuss on this. So what we broadly see, plants were traditionally, I'm talking almost 20 years back, when plants have been left alone, they were asked to produce, they are measured on the number of units which they produce, and somewhere they were part of the overall planning cycles, but not too much integral part of this. Now things are changing, and things are changing because there is a globalization which is impacting them. A planner wants to know what is the most effective method of producing this car or this product, by which line, by which plant, which forces you to bring visibility from the plants. Now plants are commissioned at different time horizons. Plants are commissioned, there is a possibility that you have acquired some plants. Now there is no standardization of bringing this visibility back where you can do apple-to-apple comparisons and do an effective planning. So the very first pressure which comes on the manufacturing, and I am again taking a score model, restricting my thoughts only to the make process, the visibility for effective planning is important, and that is one of the key drivers why everybody is looking for these integrated processes. And it is not straightforward that you just integrate. It takes a lot of time, effort, thought process, strategy to put in place to bring this transformation. The second core aspect is cost. Cost is all what we know as the waste of the plants. It can be a quality waste, it can be my poor asset utilization or asset reliability. It can be a waste in terms of the high inventory which I am holding. plants are always under tremendous pressure to improve further. And that's why we have all these lean programs running, Six Sigma programs running, total quality improvement programs running in the plants. And still there is a pressure because still there is a scope. Now, as plants are unable to publish data in a standard format, there is a big possibility that they are untouched, and there is a lot of hidden potential which can be extracted out of this. Whether we do this analysis sitting remotely or do analysis within the plants, it's a different scenario because that leads to your larger Internet of Things and those kind of complexities. Third, you are seeing days sea change. When I was young, we have one ambassador car, one Fiat car, white color, black color, 2 models. Today, every car on road is different. So what putting pressure is how I can introduce a new product faster. And Siemens gentlemen represent about how I can do time to scale. Because it's not only important that you design the product, you have to see that how it translates into a commercial production environment. Where again, can I use technology? Can I use digital? Before I reach out into the pitfalls of the hardcore manufacturing. So, time to market, time to scale, again becomes very, very critical. There are many products from Nokia, from Ericsson, they are just wiped out because they were not able to make that sea change in bringing their product to a specific market. Normally it takes 6 months for a manufacturing plant to adopt a production. And it is true for both. It is true for even pharmaceutical companies, true maybe for chemical environments, where you have a recipe which you won't fit in that easily or straightforward in a plant because recipes, master recipes are designed somewhere else. Your plant equipment, its associated hierarchy, material flow may be varying. And of course, the fourth element which we all are sensitive about, and the entire globe is all about sustainability. How I can be more energy efficient, how I can ensure that the waste which I am producing from the system is very much within the control. Another big factor which leading and which is primarily governing all this is there is a sea change between the way plants are looked upon. Plants are now more of integral part of the enterprise, and the enterprise best practices are getting applied on plants. There is a problem statement for a single plant, and there are different problem statements when you take 10 plants together. Now, same CIO is asking why hardware is not standardized. The same CIO organization is asking this network doesn't have that security policies properly installed. They are questioning why we are not there on the same platform and why we are paying 10 different, paying 10 different agencies with this. Why the services model cannot be removed from plant specific to this when data can be easily extracted. So a lot of pressure is coming from the CXO organizations to revisit these facilities, and it's leveraging a lot of new things, whether it is mobility, whether it is cloud, whether it's a combination of this is in the context of plant is what we are trying to define as Industry 4.0. So it has those elements which are forcing you to transform, like whether it's a cyber physical connect or remote operations, ability to do predictive analytics, modeling, all that concept. But broadly, on a larger scale, you can always classify them, anything which we are discussing here, into 4 major buckets. One we are talking as horizontal integration, another one is vertical integration, then digital engineering integration, and all about bringing this raw data into information which can be analyzed and can help you to prevent the event which has not occurred, like a preventive stuff. We'll quickly drill it into each of these aspects. See, horizontal integration from our viewpoint is more about having the entire ecosystem connected. Of your alone, as a standalone identity, what you can do with respect to your inventory levels, with respect to your demand-driven organization is limited. But when you connect with the ecosystem, that means you are connected to your suppliers, you are connected to your customers, then the whole flexibility and agility what we are talking is at a very different level. It's not only about connecting to your ecosystem in terms of suppliers and customers. It's all about connecting to your energy and utility systems, and exactly knowing what is the optimal way of using those systems together. So it's all about extending the definition of enterprise to a larger scale. The vertical integration, not many previous speakers have talked about this space. It's all about bringing sensory data, which is lying in the plants, which is generating time series information, but it is just data. What is our ability to transform this data and do an effective data exchange with the planning system or my enterprise resource planning systems, so that I can derive those objectives which are forcing me to transform, whether it is about cost reductions or about bringing effective planning and other aspects. This is commonly also known as IT-OT integration, which is very powerful in power sector or in utility areas. But as a concept, we are trying to connect the data generated from physical devices, convert it into some KPIs which we can monitor, and effectively do cyber mechanism, modeling mechanism, IT mechanism to bring that change which we are looking in this. So this is all typical vertical integrations. This one I will just very quickly cover because it is covered in the previous discussion. It's all about how much I can digitalize for plants, how much I can simulate. Today we have tool sets which can design the product completely in a simulation in an IT mode. So you need not to do a physical prototype of a particular product when you are designing it. Even the crash tests and all can still be simulated with this. Now we are extending this definition and trying to bring digitalization when the same product is supposed to be produced by a plant. Where Siemens friend has told about bill of process definitions. My sourcing strategy which will govern my bill of process definitions into this. So till that point we have digital, but there is always a day when the tire has to hit the road, right? You have to actually produce. And then comes the effectiveness of manufacturing execution systems, which is kind of a glue of bringing engineering definition dynamically to the system and also bringing business sense. It's not about what is the product definition and how I will produce it. It's also about when I need to produce it, in what quantity. And that's where the critical element of ERP integration comes into picture, where I want to become demand driven rather than saying that this unit is producing all 100% parts, but finally I find them all piling up in my warehouses. The most important aspect, which is covered partially in the previous discussions also, is about ability to bring digital to controls. It is very new, and many of the automation players like Rockwell, like Siemens, GE, they're talking about bringing this change that when I'm able to virtually define the process, I'm also able to define the set points, my recipes and all. Can I transmit this directly to the controller? Can a robotic arm automatically knows the coordinates from where I need to pick and where I have to place based on the product type? And today these things are possible because of the openness of the technology even in the OT space. So we are talking about bringing that change together. And there's a small circle here which represents the power. We are trying to combine with this whole technology, all this Industry 4.0 or smart manufacturing things getting talked about, all about in these three. It's about engineering, it's about production, and it's about business too. The last piece, which is again most critical because we are trying to do and bring visibility for all this what we are trying to do. We have a mechanism. Today there are technologies which help you in collecting a lot of data. This data needs to be contextualized as you are in an integrated process definition, the proper data has to be exchanged among these applications, whether these are engineering applications, whether these are ERP based applications. And then on top of it, can I create a model? Can I create that fishbone analysis with this information and give guidance, prediction to the people before that event happens? Or I can avoid a quality issue before it happens. Currently, whatever is done is very reactive. It is event based, alarm based. Somebody says, why this plant has tripped? Because temperature was high. So is there a capability of modeling which says that temperature may reach in next 2 hours to high limits, will shut down the plant, to take corrective action upfront and avoid that event, avoid that. Again, it goes back to the competitiveness. In the first presentation, we talked about economics. It's very important aspect. Today, manufacturing is coming to India, China, Brazil, because we are effective in terms of our labor cost to produce products at cheaper rate than in Europe and other. They are trying to build a lot of automation to defeat this benefit what you are getting. Plus, our cost of livings are increasing, which is increasing our cost of manufacturing. So it's a time to reinvent, rediscover, transform ourselves to bring these technologies upfront so that we remain, whatever advantage we have gained and we are going to gain in next 4 to 5 years, we retain that. We are not going to drop from those points in this. Now, anything and everything which we do is all because of business benefits. And we talked about I'm able to improve my time to market, I'm able to improve my flexibility, efficiencies and all. And finally, they are going to hit to your balance sheets, which wherever you are going to fund these programs, they are interested in how it is going to impact me. So if I am able to crash my product cycle to 1 year, but it takes me 8 months to introduce that same product in a particular plant, advantage is defeated. Now with manufacturing process definition, digital manufacturing integration with plants, it gives you that flexibility to introduce it faster. Of course, your market share is going to be retained, your return on equity is going to improve, which is the number which a CFO organization definitely looks for. If I am improving my efficiencies, if I am improving my asset utilization, it will impact my cash flow, because today maybe my line is only used for 60% of its capacity. So I have a potential of 40% increase. I will not invest something on a capital investment in a new line setup, so which will reduce my loan ability and my cash flow cycles. It also improves my return on capital employed, which I have already have existing in my plants. So it's an impact, and it's a powerful impact. It's not only about the fear that everybody is doing it, so we are forced to do in this manner. It is all about there is a business sense behind this. In terms of readiness, as being a system integrator and working on different platforms, technologies, building our own assets to help customers to go through this journey, we have conceived a kind of a framework which enables you to do this change in a very structured, effective manner. It is built on some core program management, change management and risk management foundations, because these are very critical when it comes to make this change. These are multi-year programs and it requires complete buy-in from the senior management to bring that effective change in the organization. And we bring what we are talking, technology standardization, integrated process definitions, what KPIs, how they need to be measured, all this put together. And just to end to this slide, it's a phased journey. It needs to be assessed starting from the base root of where we stand today. So it starts with the basic assessment of doing functional assessments, doing technical assessments, control system assessments, going forward, and then going into a complete blueprint, and then you will find that what are the low-hanging fruits which you need to identify to enable with. There were days when we have ERP deployments for 2 years. People don't get results, they get frustrated, but it is like mandatory. In this case, people expect some benefits to be realized to continue this investment going forward, and it's important that we cherry pick those initiatives which will help you gain return in shorter possible time, and helping you to take this journey in totality in next 2 to 3 years time frame. So that is what I have. Thank you very much for your time, and hope you have a good session in the afternoon also going forward. Thank you.